English with Deck.
There's good ones, there's interesting ones, there's smelly ones, there's round ones, big, triangular ones, oval ones. The list goes on. Now, you might be thinking, what the heck are you talking about, Deck? Well, today I want to talk about vegetables. Vegetables. Dun, dun, dun. Love them or hate them, they are essential. And there are some people who are not such big fans, you know. Maybe a common one people are not so keen on would be tomatoes, or maybe even an aubergine, otherwise known as an eggplant. Pretty common not to, and broccoli as well. I've met quite a few people who are not big fans of broccoli, but as everyone knows, they are absolutely fundamental for a healthy metabolism, a healthy body, and a balanced diet. Now, until relatively recently, where you lived in the world affected what vegetables you could get your hands on. And it wasn't until pretty recently that it didn't matter for most people. There's still a lot of vegetables we cannot get in England, for example, which I can get in Japan. Simply because there is a wide abundance of them here and there isn't the market for them in Japan, for example. In England, for example. And you know, the way people cook vegetables, of course, changes from nation to nation, culture to culture. I'd say, for example, in a lot of European cultures, we eat a lot of potatoes, a lot of green vegetables, just to name a few. Whereas if you go to the Asian cuisine, it obviously includes your potatoes, it includes your greens, but with more emphasis on seasonal vegetables to a degree. So, depending what the season is, depends on what you have to eat. And this really, in a lot of cases, makes people more aware of food waste and what they are actually eating and making with the vegetables. You know, I noticed straight away when I came to Japan that in Japan, because of the seasonal vegetables, people really do have seasonal dishes a lot more so than we would do in, say, England or Australia, for example. And that really makes people more aware of what they are cooking. Now, a great example of this, back to the availability of vegetables, people, for example, will obviously cook using bamboo for a lot of foods. Again, traditionally, you wouldn't do it year round, you can do now. And not just for the local Asian foods, there's also one, well, of course, lotus, that would be pretty common, but the name has escaped me. Um, um, something melon. 1 minute, I need to search this. The name has completely eluded me. No, this is a fruit. No, it's not this one. Oriental melon. It's not that one. Ah, is this it? Maybe that's not what I was thinking of. But yes, of course, there is the Goya, like the Goya champlo, which is has a various. A few names, but bitter lemon is probably the most common. That's not what I was thinking of. Ah, fuzzy lemon. Huh. Okay, that's different to what I was thinking of. Anyway, but bitter melon is a great example, especially in Japanese cuisine. Very, very well used. Ah, winter melon. That's it. Winter melon. That's what I was thinking of. It's like a cucumber, and it tastes all right. You've got to fry it up, but yeah, it's all right. But bitter melon, I am a big fan of the bitter melon. I really love the Goya champlo, champlu, champlu. Yes, Goya champlu, and it is it's delicious. But everyone has a different taste and different preference. Anyway, back to the vegetables. Because they are seasonal in a lot of cases, it really does mean you sort of, until recently, it was nearly impossible to have your desired dish out of season. Now you do have various options living in the more metropolis areas, bigger cities. But if you live where I live in the countryside, you are still pretty restricted to the seasonal vegetables, and of course, through that, the crop cycles. So if they've had a good crop, good harvest, then you will have a lot of vegetables. But you know what I absolutely love here is the fact that because there's a lot of space, because people are relatively self-sufficient, and it means that a lot of people will have an allotment. The place where people grow their own vegetables. Um, and what happens is most people, a lot of people, will grow more than they need to eat just by, like, they have the space, they grow it, maybe to sell it, maybe just because they can. And then what happens is they pass it around the neighborhood. And now, me and my family, we don't have a big allotment. We have a garden, but most of it's taken up by dirt for where we park the cars, like a car parking space. We have a little strip of fertile soil, which we do plant up throughout the year, but not to a large extent. And what happens is all these people, most of them are old ladies, um, sort of from their own allotments, they give us their excess produce and their excess crop. And it's unbelievable. You know, spring, summer, and even autumn, we basically don't buy any vegetables. We don't need to. We grow a few, and the rest of them we receive. And it's unbelievably lucky, and they are delicious. They're fresh, they're organic, and it really makes you think how special it is, to receive all these gifts. And they don't have to. People don't have to give them away. Now, a lot of people who are in the situation where they have too much produce will sell it on, or, go into the town to pass it to relatives, friends, etc. Or they just produce what they need. But there's a quite a common custom, especially in Japan. I'm sure in other places as well, but I don't know that firsthand. It's quite common here to just pass around the vegetables you don't need. And again, it boils back down to that community spirit, which is absolutely lovely. Yeah. Well, uh, what I am curious about is what about where you're from? What about your culture? Do people do this quite often? Because it does happen in England, but nowhere near to the same degree, and nowhere near as sort of communally either. So please let everyone know in the comments. I'd be absolutely fascinated to hear, and I'm sure everyone else would. But for now, that is all for today. So thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed today as much as I have. But for now, have a great morning, a grand afternoon, and an absolutely fabulous evening. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye now.